sitting back and saying absolutely nothing. My voice hurts, and I'm still not convinced I'm sober.
And my team won, so I really don't have much to say either.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they always win, so yeah.
Okay, Bob, rant away.
Yeah. No,
our European American fan. Go ahead.
You go do the introductory thing that you always do, Nate. Or
Hi,
Jim,
everybody.
and
You're back to this shitty
rant.
show. It's going to be happy today because Bob's going to rip everything apart. Okay, how's that for an introduction?
If you're not also disappointed that the Mosconi Cup's over, we're here to disappoint you even more with another Q Up Network show.
Yeah, right. I just thought it couldn't get any worse.
So first of all, Jim, congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't do much.
Yeah, you didn't
make I made a little bit of noise in there. It was good fun.
You made a nice appearance on television.
Oh yeah, I won the quiz. Yeah, poor guy got put up against probably the guy in there that knows the most about Mosconi Cups and 9 balls. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Easy point for you.
I hope you retired that jacket.
Yeah.
What jacket's that?
The one you were wearing. I think it was.
Oh yeah,
See,
that's my biggest gripe about Mosconi Cup. There's too many people walking around with telephones taking photographs of you. I was cold and somebody offered me a jacket. It just happened to have USA written on the back of it.
Especially at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Very dangerous time of the day.
Sock gate, right, Nate? You lost your sock that night.
Yep, and I still haven't been paid that $3 for it. It's bad action. Avoid Dominic Dunn. Doesn't pay his bets.
Oh no! Hey! For me, Dominic Dunn was really good action.
That's true.
But he bet Europe the whole week, didn't he?
Sorry?
He bet Europe the whole week, didn't he?
Yeah. I think that's only bet he won all week. Yeah.
Well, from what I heard, he had enough on it that he probably did all right.
Yeah.
Why does the header on the stream still say Team Asia whoops up on Team Europe?
Oh, I forgot to update it. That's why.
Just gives us something.
I'm on it.
Gives us something to hold on to.
It's still the case. That still is the case.
That hasn't changed.
Well, Team USA is still in the top 3 in the world.
Somebody mute that guy.
Well, you're Belgian.
I'm Belgian. I'm European. Look, I grew up. I got into pool through Shane. I thought the story was nice.
Yeah, and I saw
that was in the time that USA was still winning a lot. You're young and you side with the winning team. And I'm not switching sides because hey, this time Europe is winning. I was a USA supporter from the beginning, so I stand by it. That's how it came. That's how it came to pass.
A tough break, Bob.
Yeah, I know. Boy.
Tough break, buddy.
Yeah. Tell me about it. We had a good spell in 18-19. I was happy then. But nevertheless, but first I want to hear from Mike, the unbiased professional opinion, what his about the Mosconi, on how you perceived it, how you saw it.
Mosconi's to Mosconi. People talk all the time about, they're not competitive. You need to stop the Mosconi Cup, and people just need to just stop having that discussion. As soon as they stop adding 500 more fans every time, every year, every event, every venue they go to, it's going to stay the way it is. It's, and it's a show. It's something different. It's something to have fun with. But I also disagree with anybody who says it's not a competition. It's an exhibition. You go tell those players that spent 8 days pounding on practice tables, dialing in, sweating those matches, nerves. Fran said that the final 9 ball was straight into the side pocket. He said the side pocket looked like a needle, trying to thread a needle. So you're not going to tell me, you're not going to tell those guys that they played an exhibition match, okay? So
you don't think the same goes for a WWE match between the Big Show and Undertaker?
I have no interest in wrestling. Never have. Never will.
It's the same idea. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a exhibition.
If you think this is an exhibition, then I completely disagree with it. It's not an exhibition at all. These guys, the nerves, there's nothing like it. Okay, WWE is a show. This is actual, real, competition, a winner, a loser, losing face, failing in front of your teammates, failing in front of your country. Believe me, these guys don't say that there's nothing like this in terms of atmosphere and pressure because it's an exhibition. They just don't. So I would argue anybody that the word exhibition should never be used for the Mosconi Cup. Is it a world championship competition? No, it's not. But it's competition. These guys are trying to make every ball, and they die over every one that they miss. So, from that standpoint, the Mosconi is what it is. Just accept it for what it is and enjoy it. The players get in there, they compete, they try hard. They hate losing, they hate failing. The winners love winning this event more than any other event, and the fans love being at it more than any other event. Why do people keep complaining about this shit? I just don't understand it.
And the thing about Mosconi is, next year in the run up to Mosconi, the hype will start again, and it'll be again. This year we're going to win. Everyone will get excited for it because it doesn't matter what's happened in previous years. Previous years don't matter anymore because it's about what happens at that moment. It already doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
And it's only been 2 days. It's only 2 days old. It doesn't matter anymore because next year it's start again. And it's new players with new chances to get into that team and to prove that they belong on that stage. And that's what it's all about. It's not an exhibition, is it? It's the most important 4 days on the pool calendar at the moment because that's the one that people tune in to watch.
Then they should start treating it as such. Then they should start treating it as such.
Who's not treating it? Who's not treating it as such?
The USA team.
I don't agree. I just don't think they're good enough.
Okay, let's agree to disagree then.
Yeah, you're definitely wrong on that, Jim.
Absolutely
Wrong.
I think when they go in there at the start, they're in there fully committed and full blooded.
No,
there's players on there that because
if you're going to say going into it, then if it's the most important 4 days on the calendar, every day should be important. You can't be disengaged after your third match.
I didn't say it's the most important 4 days in the calendar for players. It's the most important 4 days in the calendar for pool and for the promotion of pool.
Okay, that's something completely different. But I was with Mike until the moment that he said those players die when they lose a match, or what was the wording that you used, Mike? I'm sorry, I don't remember it correctly. Look, if you put on a show in front of the Mosconi Cup with the presser, and you start acting up, and hey, you'll be afraid. Look, I have tremendous respect for all the players. They can shoot way better, way better than I can. I love to see them play. The quality's top notch, whatever the case may be. But the attitude, and that's a team issue, the attitude that I saw of the players when they were down, when they were 7-5, 8-5, 9-5, 10-5 down, and then you say to me they die for every ball? No, because they were winning one rack in a 4-0 deficit or a 3-0 deficit, and they were jumping like crazy, laughing, having fun, doing little dances. You're 10-5 behind. Shut up, sit down, focus, because if you want to die for it, if you want to really compete, then you compete. You're not laughing.
Who are you talking to there? Are you talking about Guy and Billy? Because that's literally just who they are. They do that all the time anyways.
Everyone. They win a point.
I didn't see Tyler doing that. Sky and Billy, that's what they do.
Tyler is an exception. I'm
not sure I saw Fedor doing that.
Fedor, yeah. Fedor was doing that.
10-6, and Fedor had a 4-0 lead and started slipping away from him. You think that he was just like, well, if I lose, no big deal. We were going to lose anyways.
I'm not saying that, but you also have to be competitive and have a professional mindset. When you're losing, you can still win it. But you're having fun. You're smiling. You're laughing. I'm not saying they have to be frothing at the mouth, but at least be angry, be pissed. We're losing. This should be different.
Did you look at Shane's face at any point in time in there? He looked pretty pissed. Pissed that he had to be there, but he looked pretty pissed.
Shane always looks
Shane
mad.
was more engaged this year than he has been in the last 5.
There's a difference between disconnect and
the first 2 days for sure.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Bob. I don't know that I totally buy into it. I think that they certain people react.
Well, somebody's. Yeah.
Sorry.
So
No.
Pancake, do you have a fan going?
Huh?
You have a fan going?
No.
There's really a lot of background noise. Mike, you're talking. Mike is talking, but he's not.
I think
Mike,
you've
we can't
muted
hear you.
Mike.
Yeah, you're muted.
I didn't. Can
we
you
can't hear you anymore,
can you-
Mike?
Can you check your audio input, Mike? I don't know. Let's just try this, I guess.
No.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
He's not muted, no?
No.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah, he'll just leave and join back in. No, but I think the thing that you're talking about, Bob, is like you're talking about like you're never going to get that from Billy and Sky, and if you do, I don't think that those two can play optimally under those conditions.
Look, I'm not saying you cannot be happy when you win a rack, but winning a rack is not winning a match. Winning a match doesn't mean yet you're winning the Mosconi Cup. Look, I'm not saying they have to sit there like dead silence, because that element, that part of the Mosconi Cup is a show. And again, I love all those guys, I support them, but the truth has to be said, in my humble opinion, that if they have the same attitude that they showed in the presser and they bring that to the table, in my humble opinion, then they will be way more focused and concentrated on the job that they need to do. The flyers that they took, instead of playing safe, instead of making sure, Jason got booed from here to Timbuktu. He's the first one to take a wild shot because he's eagle eye. He can pot anything from anywhere. I think he, in the last one of the last games, he played 2, 3, 4 times safe. They were booing him. He doesn't care. Boo me all you want. I'm playing safe because that's the right shot. Because I want to win this. Because I need to win this. Because I want to show all of you that I'm the best. And that I do not see. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it. And unless you have that, and in my humble opinion, that is not something that can be instilled by a playing captain, to be quite honest. I'm not saying that Sky didn't do a great job. I think he did a good job. I should have played someone back to back, especially one of the top guys, because then they're in stroke and they can play back to back. That's a different story. But I don't think a playing captain can instill that momentum, especially not Sky. When you hear the comments in between racks, then you hear sometimes, yeah, the only thing that I heard was, yeah, you had to shoot it. Yeah, no worries. Come on, keep up your spirits, keep up this. No, sometimes also a captain needs to tell him, you made the wrong shot, mate. Think.
Can
I
start a little rant?
Yeah,
I
sure.
gotta pick on Lance here. I think that this. I mean, I'm sorry, Lance. I'm gonna sound rough, but that's the dumbest idea that I've ever heard come out of like the industries. Why don't we make it winner take all, and that'll make the U.S. take it seriously. If you honestly don't think that the players take winning
matter.
an extra $20,000 seriously, and you think that, like, we've been talking about how hard it is to make a living in this game for how long, and we're finally starting to get some prize funds that are looking like decent money, and now we're just going to take away one of the biggest ones of the year because the U.S. doesn't take it seriously enough. Like let's they'll play better for 60,000 instead of 20,000. You're looking for solutions to problems that just don't exist. Maybe just maybe it's a race to 5, and there was a couple of hills that didn't go our way. 2 of them go our way there, and next thing you know, instead of us losing 11-6, it's now 8-10 or 8-9, and the match looks.
The match could have been 7-7 going into that last match instead of 9-5.
I agree, but coulda. You get the table with 4 balls. You're not running out, and you're taking a flyer on a shot. I'm willing to bet everything that I own that if the Euros get that table with 4 balls to go, and they screw up position on the 8th, I think it was. Somebody help me.
It's the 8 ball.
I think it was the 8 ball. I guarantee you they don't take a flyer on that shot. I guarantee you they try to duck, they try to hide, they split the balls, cushion, whatever the case may be. But if they cannot run out, they will try to lock it up, get another opportunity, and then take the rack. David was a very good example of that in one certain rack that he really had, I think, a doubles match with Kachi, I think. They just, okay, put it over there, put it on the cushion, just playing. I think they played 3 times the same shots back to back because they just kept putting the ball there, and USA just kept having no shot and splitting the balls again until someone screwed up and they took the rack.
Well,
And that's just not there.
I think the USA played more towards the crowd as far as like coming with
Yes.
like hero shots instead of playing smart.
Yeah.
I thought that Sky needed to, instead of telling Federer to go for that 8-ball up the rail, which was not a smart shot. He's
Also
got
an
a 9-ball
example.
to hide behind. That's one rack that cost them a point. And I
Yes.
think Tyler jacked up on the 3-ball when the 3's right by the hole. Federer can play
That makes
safe on
no
that
sense.
4.
That made no.
I just don't. I don't know why they do that instead of giving themselves another chance at the table. But the crowd is chanting USA. They're feeling pumped up. They're still kids too. They want to go for it and they want to be heroes, but they have to learn how to win.
Kids is not an excuse. Shane Wolford, that's a kid. That's an excuse. Shane Van Boning, arguably one of the best players in the world. Fedor Gorst, arguably one of the best players in the world.
He's still very young though too.
Yeah, but young doesn't count if you have when you went world champion on
Well,
17, 18 years old, and then you have
I think
experience
one of
under
you
your
are
belt.
talking about. I think what you're really talking about is experience, not youth, right?
He
No,
has
I
experience,
I
Fedor.
don't know if it's experience. You know, it's the U.S. has always gone for this shot more than played safe. Europe has always played better saves. Always played better saves. They've always beaten the U.S. to the shot when it got into a little safety type battle. That's the way they grew up playing, and they're just there's things that U.S. players need to work on for something like the Mosconi Cup more than they do. And winning a safety battle is absolutely one of them. You know,
And that's why they need a Johan, so a type of Johan. I'm not saying Johan exactly.
Yeah,
It can be Johan, please, Johan. But that's why they need a Johan, because Sky is the type of captain at this moment who's doing a very good job. I think he did a very good job, so no argument there. But at that moment in time, Sky is not the man that will tell his players to, hey man, you screwed up, you took the wrong decision. You need to play this 3 cushions,
Okay.
duck behind that ball.
I got to jump in there because Tyler, now you're getting me to
Sorry.
do it. Sky didn't try to do that. Sky got somebody in there that would do that, which was Scott. So like, it's not Sky. Sky delegated that part of the job, from what I saw, to Scott Frost, and Scott Frost, I thought, did it phenomenally. So like, you just, part of being a good captain is making sure that if you're not good at something, you're getting somebody there who is. So I got to push back on you a little bit on that, because Scott Frost did do a great job at keeping the players grounded, but also, accountable for some stuff. That's what I saw on site.
I mean, can we at least agree that the cup was lost on the break? I mean, I would say 85% of the time, Europe had a good, clean shot at the next ball.
Can I argue? Yeah, sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No. I agree to a certain extent. I mean, but I still think they lost more in getting beat to the shot when there was anything iffy than that cost them way more racks. So,
I agree.
They got to the table plenty. They just didn't finish the job. You get to the table with 4 balls left, you finish the job.
Yeah.
They had nothing to do with the break. So there were too many of those that didn't have anything to do with the break, where they missed opportunities to say that the break was. Now, did Team Europe break better than the U.S.? Yeah, 100%. I mean, and is a lot of that luck of the roll? Sure. But still, you kind of make your own luck by doing the right things all the time, right? And then you get lucky more often. And Team Europe just does that. So, my problem, and I agree with what you're saying, Bob, in terms of they need a Johan or someone like that. As much as preparation and game day and shot selection and things like that, they definitely need that, because I heard Sky say later that he wouldn't do anything much differently, that he thought the team played really, that they played pretty well and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just thinking, you can't go into next year saying I do the same thing that I did this year. You can't.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what would you do different, Mike?
There's got to be some recognition of what didn't go right and why and how to correct it. There's got to be that. You can't keep saying things like, I thought we did what we were supposed to do. I thought we played pretty well. We just got a couple bad rolls, and I thought we were in a lot of no, it's
I'm going to quote Raymond, accountability, Mike, accountability. Someone has to be held accountable. Okay, we did not succeed in this crucial part in a race to 5 where every rack matters, every shot matters. And at a crucial element of that, two crucial elements of that, you screwed up collectively. And I, again, love the players, but I'm telling it like I see it. I'm calling it like I see it. You screwed up on one crucial element in a race to 5 to break. And you screwed up on a second element in a race to 5 that is crucial, safety play. Especially when part 1 of that series isn't working. Because if the break isn't working, you have to play more safes. Obviously, you have to push out, you have to play safe, etc., etc. And if in those 2 crucial elements in pool, in a race to 5, you as a team collectively are failing, then that's accountability for its leadership. Then it's not one individual player that's letting the team, quote unquote, down in crucial moments because that element is not succeeding in his play, because everybody can have a bad day. It's a snapshot moment, 4 days in an entire year. You can have a bad day. Federer can have a bad day. Shane can have a bad day. Everybody can have a bad day. That's not it. But if you fail collectively as a team, then there needs to be accountability. In my humble opinion.
I think that a lot of this is
let's not forget, if you just go down to foundation, Europe are just a better team. So let's not forget that also has a factor to play, that Europe is just simply better. Everyone thought that Filler not being there would mean that Europe couldn't win or wouldn't win the cup. I'm sorry, it's still those 5 against the other 5, and it's a stronger team.
I think that's only true in a drastic sense because Shane plays like a 760 Fargo in this event.
Okay, but to say there wasn't really a lot in it, the score could have been different. There was 2 matches that could have gone the other way, and the score would have been. That's the difference. Those little differences is what makes a good player a great player. Right. Or a great player, a world champion. This game is all about very fine margins. There's only one mistake in a match that's the difference between being an 830 Fargo and a 790 Fargo. And we say that an 830 is way better than a 790. You're only talking about minute differences in the 2 games. But when you've got a group of 5 against a group of 5, and those little mistakes, they build up on one side and the other side take advantage of it because they're just simply better at taking advantage of it. It's what you said. Europe don't get an open table with 4 balls all over the pockets and miss it. They will never do it. The USA will do it one time in 100. But if it happens at that moment,
they did it in that match.
Yeah, but
they had 4 balls in the open and didn't get out. David drilled the 6th ball in the rail. So they all make mistakes.
They all make mistakes, but it's fine. And certainly in a race of 5, these fine margins make the difference. But if everybody is doing it, then it makes a big difference. Yeah. And that's basically it, because the Europeans will just do it less than the American players do because they're better.
No, they're not better.
I just don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. It's
on
true
its face value. On its face value. Sorry, Nate. On its face value, do you really believe 1v1 statistically, this team, not including Filler, not including Albin, this Europe team, on its face value, is way better than
I didn't say they were way better. I said they were better.
Okay, better. That they're better than the US.
Barely.
Yes.
Close.
And not.
It's close, but
it's close.
They're better because of the result.
If you're talking about Mosconi Cup, and look at every single player, you can't look at Mickey because he's never played it before. So he goes to the bottom of the list on Europe. But if I tell you my number 1 is Jason, Now you've got to pick any of your players.
You're so wrong on that, Jason. Though you're so wrong. Jason isn't a top 3 player on these. If you add up both players, Jason is a top 3 until you get him into this arena.
Will you let me finish what I'm saying? You put your US player against mine. I'm picking Jason as the best player on my team. Who are you picking against them? Purely based on how they perform in Mosconi.
He's not the best player on your team. He's the best player. That's it. That's the Opera award. Based off of how they play.
Based on the Mosconi.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is Mosconi.
That's what we're talking about. The Mosconi.
You're talking about Mosconi. This goes back to idiots on Facebook saying he'd never beat him in a race to 110 ball. Nobody gives a shit. They're playing Mosconi race to 5-9 ball. Nobody gives a crap.
But if you're going
how good you are at 10 ball or one pocket or banks has absolutely no influence on how good you're going to play Mosconi.
Okay, so then let me go back to what you said.
It was the same thing a few years ago when Federer didn't get picked for Team Europe, and everyone's going, but look at the money list. Yeah, he won it all in one pocket banks and 10 ball. It's irrelevant. I use the word irrelevant, and people got upset with it. But it is irrelevant. It's Mosconi.
Jim, let's go back to your statement then.
Jason's the best guy out there. Fran was the second best guy out there, and I'll stand by those two against anyone in USA apart from Skylar based on how they play in the Mosconi Cup.
I thought Fran deserved the MVP over Jason.
Well, he didn't get it based on countback on racks lost.
Yeah, that system is.
They have the same amount of points. You've got to pick one. You can't pick two.
Yeah, I know.
Co-MVP.
They should include winning percentage in there, and Fran didn't lose a match. Jason did.
Yeah.
True.
I agree. I only want to go back to what you said, Jim, because you said if you add up the both teams, Europe is a better team. They're only a better team in the Mosconi Cup.
But we're talking about Mosconi Cup.
We're talking.
You never put the disclaimer on, and I
said right at the beginning in Mosconi Cups. I said it clearly from the start.
But just like Jim was saying, how the small margins between a 790 and an 830 Fargo, it's the same in this competition. Just because Europe won 11-6 doesn't mean they're a dominant team. It takes those little, if there's a little bit of luck, a little roll, little decision making on the US's part that we decide to change, then the score could easily be flipped the other way. These are races to 5, alternating break. It can happen.
Yes, it can happen. Of course, it can happen. That's how they won in 2018, 2019. But I said before when we had the discussion about Billy getting picked, I said USA need that something extra because if both teams just play okay, Europe's going to win. If both teams play good, Europe's going to win. If both teams play bad, America's going to win. So America needs, and you're talking about not going for these silly shots. They have to go for them sometimes and make them because that's the only way. They need a Billy in there. Yeah. He played one rack where he played a kick shot and then a bank full tape. Everyone's going mental, and nobody's saying that's a bad shot to play because he made it. I haven't heard one person saying he should never have taken that on because he made it. Right, if Federer makes a six-ball bank, brilliant.
You can't say if the United States played their best that Europe would win. Impossible. We have the better players on our team.
It's a Mosconi Cup.
I'm just saying, though, you're saying played their best. We don't play our best. That's the problem.
Look at all the events that Federer played to win the World Championships, the Masters. What else did he win? The other one, the US Open. Look at them. I bet if you go back and look at those matches, at least 50% of them, he was behind.
Oh yeah.
When it got to 5. When it got to 5, he was behind.
The World Championships, he was down. He was down 8-0 to.
Exactly. So you're going at the Mosconi Cup with a guy who, yes, is winning all these matches in races to 9, 11, 13.
Right.
Look back and see how many he was behind when his opponent got to 5. And you're playing a race to 5. If Federer wants to start winning points in the Mosconi Cup, he's going to have to start quicker. He's going to have to be ready when he gets right on the table. He can't go into a match hoping to outgrind his opponent.
But you said if they play their best.
You have to outfire your opponent. And that is something he's not been able to do yet. And that's why Federer's not winning the points that he should be winning, because he doesn't have the firepower. He has longevity during matches, and he grinds his opponents down and makes less mistakes than his opponents. But all these guys are able to play a race to 5 without making a mistake. So if Federer makes one, he's going to get beat because he's not out shooting them. And that is why Federer is not getting points in the Mosconi Cup.
I think ultimately we're looking at this like it's another beatdown like it has been in the past. And realistically speaking, the U.S. had ball in hand with 4 balls on the table to close out day 2, and they don't get out.
That was where it went. That's where it
switched. There it switched.
Because
Well,
they,
no.
they've gone in at 6-4 down instead of 5-5. If they go in at 5-5,
and they won the first point, so they could have been. They won the first point on day 6. They could have been up 6-5.
You watch a lot of golf. I guess the rest of you watch a lot of golf. How often do you hear a player turn around? They come off the 18th green and they've had a bad hole on the 18th, and they come off. They're still good on the leaderboard, but they're pissed off because they didn't get over. They didn't get to the end when they could have taken the advantage of being on a good run. America could have gone to bed that night at 5-5, absolutely delighted with how it was. The match is where we need to be at the moment. We can be putting pressure on Europe. Europe's not going to be happy in their bed. Europe's thinking, 6-4 up, we'll take that, considering what's just happened. Absolutely. And that is momentum. That's what they talk about, momentum in the Mosconi Cup. It's so important. And that was a huge opportunity.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
They didn't take it. And
well, Bob, can I finish my point really quickly? Let me finish my point really quickly, and then I'll send it over to you. They get ball in hand with 4 balls left to close it out. It's now 5-5. Let's assume they go out there and win the team point like they did. Now they're up 6-5. You're telling me right now that the USA being up 6-5 on day 3, Shane and Sky versus Mickey and FSR, you're telling me that Shane's going to let them lose 5-1?
Well, we don't know. You don't know. This is all hindsight. Yeah. You don't know.
That's
all you can say is they're going to be feeling a lot better about themselves.
The point is you cannot look at Shane Van Boening on day 3 and not say that he looked disengaged being down the way that he was. If you're up 1 point going into that match versus down 2 points going into that match, Shane disengages. He does.
The only thing you can say is if they.
They were 1 point behind. They had won the team match.
Yeah,
and he
wasn't disengaged.
He lost that match, went right over to the couch and slouched because Scott went over and started talking to him.
Yeah, at the end of the match, maybe not at the beginning of the match.
They just got run over, and he didn't expect it. Fran coaxed Mickey through that match great.
That was a great performance, by the way. Yeah.
I mean that could have been the cup right there. That match was so huge because the U.S. was such a big favorite to win that doubles match, and when we didn't, the whole vibe just sunk.
And there, I'm going to go back to Jim. Yeah, sorry, Nate. Go.
I just stand true that I think Shane Van Boening losing that match going down 2, it was over right then and there because he was no longer going to be a contributing teammate. There's a reason he wasn't put out there on day 4. He just didn't get the opportunity.
He just didn't make it that far.
My point is he could have been played in any of the first 3 spots, and he wasn't played in any of them.
Yeah, because Skyler decided to put Federer himself first.
Yeah, but there was a match.
Skyler, better player.
And I'm putting Federer and Skyler before him as well.
There was a match brought over as well, So that was a match from the day before. So technically, you have to eliminate the first match because that was a match from the day before.
Yeah, but it went Skyler from the day before,
Federer, Shane,
and then Skyler.
Skyler.
Yeah, they had to do that. They had to set it up that way.
They had to.
Yeah, they had to. Yeah.
Only because you know that Shane isn't going to play anywhere close to his normal game because by day 4 he's not engaged.
No.
You're telling me
Shane wasn't performing.
You're telling me that if this is the World Championship and you're going to put Sky in twice before you put Shane in once? No, the only reason you're doing that is because you know what Shane's going to perform as.
I don't think so.
Because he performed not well in the previous days.
Sky is the man when it comes to the Mosconi with team.
Only because it's the Mosconi Cup. That's my point. My point is Shane doesn't.
We're talking about the Mosconi Cup. We're talking about the mentality of the Mosconi Cup. Talking about the strategy of the Mosconi Cup.
It's all part of it.
Would have done in the World Championship doesn't make any difference.
Because one guy doesn't care that he's there. He's there for a paycheck.
But Shane has the same face no matter what he's playing. Like he always looks like he's not interested in things. Like that's just his demeanor. I don't think he didn't care.
Shane
absolutely didn't care.
I don't know Shane. You know Shane, Mike. I don't know Shane. So it's a hypothesis completely from my end. But the way it looks to me and the way it enters me, I captivate that emotion that he sends, is that he's not buying in to the story and the whole thing. And there was one moment that was particularly interesting for me. Before I think day 3, but I'm not sure. I have to look back. They have like a mini group huddle before the team match. And they're like, I guess it looked like, because you couldn't hear it, like USA on 3 or USA, something like that they're doing. And you can see the 4 guys engaging, a hand in the middle stuff. And Shane is really like on the outside, like you can feel he's not buying into something. And that, for me, I thought was the only reason that they called the whole audible on Scott Frost, because for me, that personally, and I love the guy as a commentator, also don't know him, but I think he's really funny. I think he's really cool. I think he's a good commentator. Don't know why they call that audible. I really do believe that also played a factor in fueling Europe a bit. Why all of a sudden they have extra coach? What is that guy doing here? He's a commentator, but now he's coach of USA as well. What is this? But if you don't get Shane to buy into the story and to really have a mentality, a fighting mentality on this, then he will never perform. Never. So either you leave him home, which is not possible because he qualified on points, I know, but either technically you leave him home, and he's my favorite player, right, guys? You leave him home, or you get someone that can get into his head and make him buy in, because he is not engaged into the story.
Yeah, but Bob, are you looking for him to be like a rah-rah guy? Because he doesn't do that.
No. In 18 he wasn't a rah-rah guy. In 19 he wasn't a rah-rah guy. But you can bet your ass his attitude was different. If you look back at the tapes, if you look back on how he's engaging, how he's in his chair, how he was
losing is the moment he doesn't care anymore.
But he lost in 18 and 19 as well. But his attitude was completely different.
I'm saying as a team, like the moment he like gets down 2 points, he's ready to give up. When he played his match in 2021 with Tyler, that was the Jeremy Jones year, and Tyler's sitting there in his chair, sitting forward, ready to go with any opportunity he could possibly get, and Shane is sitting in his chair like this, and Tyler had to remind him that they were up at the table one time, and Shane played a garbage shot and goes back in his chair and sits down. And Tyler gets up there and fires the ball in, and Shane has to get up out of his seat to go back to the table. You know the guy's not engaged.
But this is the same argument that we have every year, and I'm asking you now.
Nothing changes every year.
What?
Nothing changes from year to year.
But why then all of a sudden he was engaged in 18 and 19?
Because they were winning.
They were winning from day one?
You think that was You think that was the Johan factor?
I think so. Yes.
It's hard to argue against it. The last 3 years they were competitive.
Yes. The first year with Johan didn't go well, and Shane.
It's 11-4.
Team didn't.
Yeah, it's bad.
And Johan almost blew him off and said, "Forget it. I'm not interested in this." And the second year he changed the mentality. So there's no doubt that was a big factor then. You look at the only common denominator between 18 and 19 in the last 12 years, and it's pretty obvious what the common denominator is. So yeah, and what that tells me is that they need something beyond them, because the American pool mentality is just different than the European pool mentality. It just, play money matches. We play for money. We play aggressive, doing drills all the time and all that stuff, and God bless Europe for taking that approach. You need a little help to guide you into preparation for an event like Mosconi Cup. We're also critical. So, long and short of it is, I don't think you're going to see some time, just based on what Emily has said about how she likes to play in captain things. Does that mean that they can't have someone help them prepare for the Mosconi Cup? No, I think you absolutely need to do that. They can't look at this year and say, I'm okay, like Skylar said, I don't think I would do anything differently next year. I thought, well, that's not the right answer, son. It just isn't. Those are the things that stick out to me.
Mike, do you know why they changed from the captains to do the playing captains? Was there a specific thing that made them go to the playing?
I think that
It's the Ralph factor.
No, they paid the captains this year just like they paid them last. It just went to the player captain. Sky got more money
Jason
than the other.
suggested it, and Emily
What you
wanted to
said,
go.
Bob.
Well,
Bob
the-
said
the
Ralph Eckert basically made a mockery of the whole captaincy thing with his interview after winning it last year.
The Ralph factor.
Right, because he just kept walking up and down the steps after every.
No, because he turned around on live television and turned around and says, "I'm just an expensive racker."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That one comment that
It went beyond that.
And I think of all the people who applied and all the people they had a look at, I don't think they could find two suitable ones, one for each side.
that didn't make it
That's
more
part of
to
it,
a show. That
I agree with Emily saying the players. I want the players to be the stars. I want the players to be the story. I don't want someone who's getting paid to be there. I get all that, and that's fine. But that doesn't mean you can't have a coach. You can't have someone prep you for an event like
Yeah,
this.
Skylar and Jason were free to offer somebody the position if they wanted to, but the money would have come
Right,
out
they
of
had
their
to pay
pocket.
out, right? They had to
Right.
have a team fund. Matchroom is not going to pay a
No,
non-playing cap. So, the teams have to come up with a way to do that if they want that outside help.
but what I will tell you, I mean, I don't know if Sky talked to anybody, but I know for a fact that Jason contacted Alex Laley for some advice and some input about selections, about doubles partnerships, about any. They had a long conversation. Any advice he could possibly give. He also contacted him about the wild cards and stuff like that, and his experience with these players before. So Jason did his homework as much as he could, based on Alex being the last couple of years.
Conversations with Johan, trust me.
I don't know if there was or not. I know that Scott Frost talked to him.
No, there was definitely conversations with Johan. So,
And I did hear a rumor that there is a chance that Johan comes back for next year.
not
rumor.
I don't think that. I think that.
And I will not be telling you where I got it from.
Well, what are they going to do on Europe side? Because Jason's not going to give up his captaincy.
He doesn't. It's not his to give up. It's not like he's been given captaincy for a number of years. He was captain for that year, and that's it.
Right.
And even then, you don't have to. USA has a captain, so Europe also needs one.
Right.
Europe can go in blindfolded and still do their thing. So that's not a requirement. The whole point is USA cannot do it without outside help.
I would not. If I'm Matchroom, I'm already planning this.
Of course.
And I'm going to Johan Reisink and Niels Fayen and getting them as the two captains. And I'm already creating my storyline of the two Dutch guys. And Johan was Niels' coach for many, many years. They're good friends.
Yeah.
That's already creating something within the
teacher becomes the master storyline. Student becomes the master.
I also think
you've already got your storyline.
I also think it's more fair to the players too, because when Jason and Sky were announced that they were getting in no matter what, I mean, you can't tell me that in any of these tournaments that they didn't, think, well, I'm already in, so if I lose, I lose.
But which captain is not picking those two anyway?
I understand that, but still, I mean, it did change some things because they did take the wild card.
Either side. If you're the USA captain, you're not picking Sky. If you're the Europe captain, you're not picking Jason.
I get that, but it does take away from the competition because they are competing to get in based on points and not just on the wild card, where they're guaranteed the wild card. So why bother going to an event if I don't?
It actually makes it easier for the players, because if Jason and Sky then are not interested in getting into the top three because they are already in the team, then that means there's an extra spot in the top three for somebody else to claim. So actually, it becomes easier to qualify for the Mosconi. Easier to qualify, not easier to get a wild card. But on both sides, the wild cards are basically three players. On both sides.
Can we agree that we have to get rid of one wild card and put 4 people in on spots? Can we agree on that?
100% no.
No.
Why not?
No.
I mean, that takes away from it a little bit. I think I like the two wild cards.
USA suffers more than Europe from that. That will make it even harder for the USA to win the Mosconi Cup.
Europe takes,
UFC
Europe takes the
that.
top 5 every year, anyway.
USA are more like, if you give 4 places to the ranking list, USA are much more likely to have a player from out of nowhere qualify that's never played the Mosconi before, that can't handle it, and it just weakens the team. You know, I see Greg Hogue on here, and this is no offense whatsoever to Greg Hogue, but he was very, very close to getting in the top 3 a couple of years ago. If it had been a top 4, he'd have been playing Mosconi Cup. Now, as much as I respect Greg and everything he does within the game, is his game at a level to play on Mosconi Cup? We don't know. He's going to have the 4 days of his life and not feel the nerves and play.
Can we agree that Mickey
impossible as a rookie to do that?
Wait. Can we agree that Mickey didn't have the best Mosconi Cup ever?
Oh.
No, he didn't. But he's also not one of the best players ever to play in the Mosconi Cup.
No. Wait. Okay. Can we also agree that based on a couple of little things going on a different way, an Alexa Peselj, the Bosnia-Herzegovina guy, I forgot his name, Sanjin, or any other guy could have taken that 4th spot in some way, shape, or form?
They had the opportunity throughout the year, but
they had the opportunity. Okay, but I'm not arguing that. I'm saying, could they have?
Yeah, of course.
Could they have played as well as Mickey at the Mosconi Cup?
No, but I'm saying that you are saying it makes it weaker for the US. I'm saying that in that regard, you can have a Europe team that has 2 rookies in it, which would make it easier for the US. So that's also an argument there.
Yes, but you could also end up with the top 4 as 4 established players, and then USA have 2 rookies.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and what changes to now? But Oscar got. I love, and Billy should always be there. Right? That's why I'm keeping 1 wild card, because Billy is a contributing factor on a team environment thing. But the way Oscar got snubbed this year, and I totally understand, it's no diss to Sky, but the way Oscar got snubbed this year, that shouldn't be that's not correct. That's not correct. Based on.
It is absolutely correct. If you want to be in the Mosconi Cup, qualify.
Exactly. Otherwise, it will be purely chosen based on only on what you've done in the Mosconi Cup previously. And Billy wins that argument against Oscar.
Billy wins that argument against Oscar, and I want Billy in the team.
People can turn around. People have turned around and said Oscar beats him in a set race to 100. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Shane and Fedor beat Jason in a race to 100. It doesn't matter. Jason's still going to smash him.
It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered if Oscar was there instead of Billy anyway this year. So I mean, it's a moot point with that. So
I agree. I agree, but I think the 2 wildcard thing also for an acknowledgement for the players who compete, because now you have some players dropping off that initially started 2 years ago, last year, that wanted to compete for that spot. And now you see with the wildcard thing that there's even a spot less, dependent on the viewpoint, Jim, I know. But let's face it, on the USA side, the top 3 spots technically are locked up with Fedor, with Shane, and Skyler or Tyler.
That's it. But their number 4 could be up for grabs. So you want to keep it at 3. If I'm Team USA, I want to keep it at 3. I don't know if anybody else disagrees, but if I'm Team USA,
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
in fact,
I like the 2 wild cards. We need the 2 wild cards.
If I'm Team USA, make it 2 and give me 3 wild cards. Then I know I'm going to have the strongest team I could possibly have. If you make it 4 qualifying, I'm not guaranteed to get the strongest team that I could possibly have.
I'd rather have 3 wild cards than 1.
But that point also goes for Europe.
I stand completely behind.
Yes, but what you're not saying, if Europe has the strongest team, it doesn't matter who USA fields. So USA need to guarantee that they have their strongest team in order to be competitive. If they don't have it, they're done.
I still stand by. I stand completely behind what I said earlier. We're talking about changes that need to happen in the Mosconi Cup.
There's no changes need to happen.
There's no changes. It's only louder now because there's more and more fan engagement because Matchroom is building the sport to incredible levels. I mean, and now it's we're talking about this event like it has to be changed because something's wrong with it. A wheel falls off in your car and you're talking about how to fix it. Well, if the wheel doesn't fall off, why are you going to talk about fixing the wheel? It's just fine.
It's getting better and better.
They
It's getting
were
better.
the U.S. was
It
literally
really is.
one stupid pattern away from being up 6-5 going into the second match on
That's
day
too
3.
easy. That's too easy. Sorry, no. I'm going to give another example. I'm just wondering, and probably they do, but I'm not seeing it on the way they break. I've heard between the Team Europe, because now they're obligated to put 2 ball on the left wing, the right wing, or the bottom, right?
Yeah, three spots for the 2 ball.
Yeah, left wing, right wing, or bottom ball. What?
That's
Sorry?
something I can get behind. What Tom Kosha said, that's something I can get behind. And that I think would actually give America a better chance.
Oscar instead of SVB even and make SVB coach.
No,
Yeah.
it's SVB.
I don't think he would be a coach.
I
okay.
wouldn't make him the coach, but I would say Oscar instead of Shane.
Okay, you will never get Shane as long as he competes. He will be in there because he will qualify on points.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that I agree with what he's saying.
Speaking of coaching, do you guys agree with how much they overcoached Mickey? I understand, obviously they won the scores to score, but
Oh my God.
it seemed they took Mickey out of his game.
Okay, there's one piece of information that we don't have is whether or not Mickey asked to be coached through his matches.
True.
So until we know
Mike
that, you cannot say he's been coached too much because you don't know if that was on his request. He's
And
just
I have a
played the
second
Reyes
argument.
Cup. Maybe he's saying, "Listen, guys, I need a little bit more advice. If you see a shot, please come and give me your input because you might see something I don't see." So if he said that, then that's what they're going to do.
But he seemed to make a lot of the mistakes after you saw the overcoaching. He made a lot of mistakes.
He's saying he did. So it's not request of Mickey, so it's not too much.
Yeah. And I have a second argument.
I didn't once see Mickey seem confused or hesitant. Once he's been told, mainly by Jay, once he's been told, just stick the white up there, go there, playing with 7, he basically got straight down and played it. So there was no hesitation. There was no look in his eye like, hey, why would I do that? It's like, fuck it, I'm just going to play it. If that's what you think is the best shot, it probably is. So I'm going to play
Let's hear what Mike has to say.
About what?
Oh, you tried to jump in a little bit ago. I didn't. Let's.
Oh, I don't remember where. I read at that point.
That's a great thing to say. Wait, bring it. I kind of like that Jason went over and helped him because I got to scream, "Ooh, Jason, come help me!" And it made me feel good.
Or eat shit, Shaw, or something like that. Eat shit, Jason. I heard that getting shouted a couple of times. But my advice, American fans, you were absolutely fantastic. I sat with Nate in the middle of the American fans for 3 days, 3 of the 4 days. The other day we had VIP, and I had a great laugh. And they were all around me. We were all having fun. It was fantastic, having a great time. They accepted me sitting there. We made funny comments back and forth to each other. But if I'm the USA fans and I give you a little bit of advice, stop shouting at Jason. Jason will miss balls if you all go quiet.
Yeah, he feeds off that.
The U.S. crowd.
I can't hear you, Mike.
Go dead silent. The U.S. crowd should go dead silent.
Exactly.
Right.
Every time Jason comes to the table, they should just go.
They should sit in the arena and read it. They should just sit there and read newspapers.
Exactly. They should basically if you want Jason to miss balls and play badly, the only chance you've got is to basically ignore him. Everybody just turn around and look away from the table and go completely silent. Then he might miss a ball. You start shouting stuff at him. You saw it. There was one guy shouted, "Have you been on Joe Rogan, Jason?" And then he played this ridiculous carom onto the 9, and knocked the 9 in all the way down the long rail. And he just turned and says, "No, but I should be," and walked back to his chair. He says he loves that. There's no point in doing it because you're just feeding him. It's like giving him Red Bull.
There's no doubt that Jason.
Popeye.
There's no doubt that Jason brings out his best game. The one thing I don't like is, especially with the internet, there's so many haters out there. They knock his character, and everybody who knows Jason's a good dude, man. He plays it up for the show and gives people a show. And keeps people engaged.
Every show needs a pantomime villain, and we say it every single year.
I'll tell you what, he made that one bank on the 3 ball and left his partner for the 4 early on in the match. He just, as a partner, Jason Shaw has to be one of the best Scotch doubles partners you could ever have because he doesn't care what you leave him. He will shoot anything.
He literally said that once, I think, in a doubles match with Filler. I think he said you could leave at the beginning debut of Filler, I think in somewhere 17, 18. He said somewhere.
It was Filler that said that to him, and then he played a bank combi on the 9.
No, but he said sometime, yeah, just give me a shot.
Yeah.
Or was it against or was it Kazakis? He said it too. I don't know. I think it was Kazakis. Sorry.
The
said,
only
"Just give me
person
a
I saw
shot."
struggle with Jason in doubles is Elliott in the World Cup a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was it. Everybody else has really just, very
But the World
comfortable.
Cup's different because if you lose your first match, you're going home. There's no way back kind of thing. So
Right.
there's a bit of a different pressure on it. But
Right.
one thing Jason also does, being the team captain, he takes a lot of heat off the rest of the team because everybody is venting like their anger and their frustration at him.
That is true.
It kind of takes a little bit of heat off everybody else.
I think you saw that with Fran.
Mickey didn't get the abuse that you would expect a rookie to get, mainly because he's just a really nice guy. He's very difficult to. He doesn't really do anything that you can shout at. So you're just sort of waiting for him to miss a ball or get himself in a sticky situation. Even then, they weren't really harsh on him, and they don't react to any of the other players the way they do to Jason, kind of thing. And that takes a bit of heat off everybody else. The thing is, he just eats it up. It's like, no, I didn't do it again. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But can we agree? Yeah, go ahead, Nate.
Well, we're talking about how much Jason loves the crowd, but the crowd loves Jason just as much.
As much, just as much.
Facebook fucking hates him, but the crowd loves him.
Can you imagine that match without Jason being involved in it? All the moments
and Josh,
and all the things that were shouted and the big moments.
You know what you would have? You'd have another Reyes Cup. That's what it would be, because the Reyes Cup was very weak.
That's why there's two reasons why Jason's a lock for Mosconi Cup until one of his arms falls off. One is the crowd reaction and the way he gets involved and entertains and he's good for TV. And the second is he's probably, along with Filler and Albin, in the top 3 Mosconi Cup players since Darren Appleton.
Yeah.
Stop play.
Yeah.
These are the guys that have been the Mosconi Cup in all that time.
Okay, but can we also agree
Number
that
3
if the
is
situation is reversed?
he's from the UK.
That doesn't count anymore.
Can we agree that if the situation was reversed and Europe was behind 9-5, 8-5, or whatever the case may be, Jason isn't laughing. There will be fire in his eyes. He will sit, he will shoot, he will still engage and be entertaining, but in a fiery way, not in the hey, let's dance way. But he won't be laughing and whatever the case may be. There will be a fire in his belly.
I don't know.
You saw that at the Reyes Cup.
You do what you think is
the
the right
Reyes
thing
Cup.
to do. You do what you think the right thing to do, and that's the difference in a team thing. For each individual within a team, the way they react to adversity is different. So you can't say that they all should be stoic and concentrated. You can't say that they all should be laughing and joking and trying to let it wash over them. Some do it because they've in their own experience it helps them, and other people don't do it. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, for me, the Mosconi Cup, the Mosconi Cup, this Mosconi Cup ended. It didn't end. There was the massive moment was USA not going in at 5-5. That was the huge moment to me. There was other moments that turned out to be big based on what the final result was, but that was for me that and then Europe coming out in a positive way and they could lose that. It meant they could lose that first team match and still be one match ahead. Instead of being one match behind. So then they go on and win the next 3 matches. They stop it at the end of the day. You feel like they've broken the back of the match.
It was a 1-2 punch. For me, it was the one match they gave away at the end of the day there, at the end of day 2. And then US wins the team match, comes back to 6-5. And then arguably the best Scottish double pairing that the US have, Shane and Sky, lose their double match.
Mm-hmm.
Was the one get destroyed. Yeah, and that was the 1-2 punch for me from Europe that knocked us out cold. I think that was the 1-2 punch. If that match goes different, even if it's close, I think we still have a game. But those two getting, and it's not rolls and whatever the case may be, I'm not arguing about the gameplay. But those two getting quote unquote destroyed, like you say, Sean, that was
huge. That was huge.
That was done.
Can we talk about that foul that Mickey called on himself?
Everyone on Facebook's calling him a hero for calling that foul. He's supposed to call it. If he doesn't call it, he's a cheat.
Right.
When he was over the ball,
that
I was sitting in the European corner with Jason's family. And when he was getting over, when he was getting over and reaching, and he was under his own body, I said to him, he looked at the angle to go above the 6, and as he's reaching over, I said, he can't do anything but foul here. If he's trying to get above the 6, he's going to foul. The only way you can play it like that is if you try and stay underneath the 6 and just give it a little spin on the outside edge of the ball. And of course, he's trying to go to go through the cue ball to get the cue ball back out up, and he's double hit. Everyone's saying Marcel didn't call it. Marcel would have called that. He knows. But Mickey straight away hit the cue.
Mickey was too fast. Marcel would have called that. Mickey was just too fast.
It was obvious. Marcel probably knew he was going to foul the way he was playing.
Yeah, sure.
Jim, let's not get carried away and calling him a cheat for not calling it.
Wait, Mike is saying something, but his audio is late.
If you don't call a foul on yourself, you're a cheat.
No, let's not get carried away. There's a ref standing right over top of the ball. Look. If
well,
you're like Liverpool.
You're going to say something very American pool hall here, aren't you? That if
I'm going to say that if Liverpool gets wrong on it should have been an offside, they get away with it and they kick the ball. They're not going to kick the ball out. Why?
Not the same.
Why? The ref is there to make a call.
Nope. I'm not going with that argument. You've made a foul. You know you've made a foul. You call it on yourself. Simple as that.
So you're gonna stop a pass interference call, or you're gonna
not
say that you were offside?
Not the same. Not the same.
Well, Marcel was not calling that foul.
Yes, he wasn't given the chance. He wasn't given the chance.
He was.
You guys saw the video, right? When he walks away, he only came back when Mickey tapped the cue.
Mickey tapped the cue.
He doesn't.
He hit it.
He tapped the cue ball twice.
No,
but
I'm saying,
rolled, and then he stopped it from rolling, and then rolled it back towards Marcel.
Now, could they ever?
Marcel hadn't called it.
I'm not buying into that whole thing. Marcel wouldn't have called the foul.
Jim,
let
Mike talk because Mike is lagging. Audio is lagging.
No, whatever. I think we're all saying the same thing, except that there's no way Marcel wasn't making that call. There's no way he didn't see it. There's no way he wasn't saying it. He didn't like ball as fast as Mickey touched it, but he did not miss that shot. Trust me.
I mean, he didn't call foul right away like he did against Sky on that 6 ball. He called foul right away when Sky touched that 6 ball.
Because when he was playing it, he knew straight away what to look for.
Yes, he was standing over it, knowing that was happening. So that's why he was there. It didn't matter.
When you watch the video, it looks like he just backs away and waits for Mickey to take the next shot. I really wish Mickey wouldn't have touched it. Because I would have really liked to see what he would have done.
Well,
yeah, but we're never going to know, and people are assuming. People are thinking he wasn't going to call it. I'm pretty sure that. Everybody saw it.
Right, it's on the big screens right in the arena.
Exactly. There's no way that Mickey did not have to. Sorry, in order for it to be given as a foul, there's no way Mickey needed to declare it himself, but he did, and very, very quickly. Now everyone's calling Mickey a hero. Now, in my opinion. Yeah, great for doing it, and he's getting a lot of praise for it, but he can't do anything else in that situation.
I mean,
there's not another thing that he can do there. He has to call foul on himself. And so it's also the way he's brought up to call foul on himself.
Yeah,
there's no situation in his head where he thinks I might get away with that. No situation.
Well,
it's not even a thing that goes through his head at that stage.
This past U.S. Open, he was playing Ko Pin Han down 8-7. And he kicked at a ball that went rail, hit the ball, and never hit another rail, and he didn't call it on himself. And he was questioning.
How close was he standing to the balls?
He was on the other side of the table, but it was pretty clear to everybody around it. But he didn't. He said, "I don't know." So I mean,
I don't know.
You know.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
I understand that. I mean that one was so egregious. He had to call it on himself.
Yeah, okay, but I think what happened is that Marcel, because he was crouching a little bit down to have a good view on what he was doing. I think Marcel was going back up just to straightening his body and saying foul shots. And in that meantime, Mickey is touching the ball. But Mickey, I don't know if you look back at the video, touches the ball twice and almost pushes it into another ball. And that's why you see Marcel like scrambling a little bit to get the ball, and it looks like he wasn't calling it. And because Mickey is then touching the cue ball, he's suddenly going to grab the cue ball. I think Marcel was always calling that. If he's not calling that, then I'm lost. Then I don't know anymore.
I don't know. I've watched it a lot of times, and it just looks like he was walking away
he was
from
backing off.
the table. That's what it
Well,
looks
we're
like.
never going to
That's the way I
We're
read
never
it.
gonna know, but I don't. I think. I mean, if he doesn't see that as a foul and wasn't going to call it as a foul, then he should never referee the game again. But I don't believe that that's the case.
Yeah, because I mean, he's caught some really good shots of nicking balls and calling fouls on people that don't even realize it. So I mean,
he normally jumps at the cue ball too. I mean, his movement when he calls a foul is to goddamn near sprint at the ball.
right? Are you watching? Did you see the video, Nate? Have you watched the video?
No, I'm on the same side as you. I don't think he was calling a foul.
No,
he's
he
usually
clearly
very
walks
loud
away
saying
from the table until Mickey taps the cue ball with his stick, and then he just jumps right back. It's like, okay, what he didn't. It's like he didn't know what was going on.
But
you could also hear it as well. You could hear the ball getting jammed into the rail in the queue.
But I also don't find
the ball's quite clearly throughout the arena with the microphones above. You could hear that it was a jam against something.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't find it as egregious. Even if he missed the call, like straight out missed the call, I don't necessarily care that much. The problem that I've had with Marcel in the past is he'll make a call that's wrong and then stick to it and then just basically screw the player over. I mean, you're never going to get every single call right. You'd like to get the obvious ones right, but you're going to make some mistakes. I don't care that he made the mistake. I'm happy that he didn't, I mean, obviously once Mickey touches the ball, it doesn't really matter at that point, but you're going to make some mistakes. I don't know. I don't see it as a problem as much as you guys do.
Well, on that one, I mean, it was obvious.
I'll tell you what, that one was pretty obvious, but he's also called some pretty freaking incredible, like non-obvious shots. Like he's called some pretty freaking good ones too. That that's a pretty bad one to miss, I think, if he did. But you're not going to be perfect every single time. You're going to make some mistakes.
Did someone else also have the feeling that, and with no disrespect, because it's got to be difficult, but the Magic Rack makes it simpler nonetheless, that the racks with the other referee guy were not as good as Marcel's, or was that my imagination?
I don't know. A couple of Marcel's were pretty comfy.
I don't think Europe had an issue with anybody racking the balls.
Well, there's a little bit of controversy behind that comment, then, is there?
How many dry breaks did Europe have? Does anybody?
They broke better.
How many dry breaks though?
Doesn't matter. Probably very few because they broke.
That's what I'm saying though. I don't remember Europe having a dry break.
Look, at the end of the day, with that break, I don't know if you've played in matchroom events before and you've tried to hit that break.
Of course.
Okay, so what happens if you're not hitting it well? You're losing the cue ball underneath the rack, yeah, 100%. And you're not making the one in the middle.
Right.
What did you see USA doing all the time? Cue ball under the rack.
Yeah,
they were losing the cue ball under the rack all the time. People are saying, "Oh, Europe were always getting a better shot in the two ball." Yes, because Europe's cue ball wasn't ended up under the rack all the time. Less chance,
Let me add something there. I also know for a fact that with the new position of the two ball, all those players adapt their break based on the position of the two ball.
Where the two ball is.
Based on where the two ball is in the rack. I'm not seeing. And I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just not seeing it. Seeing the USA do that. They look like they're hitting the break every time the same way, same speed, even if the two ball is at the bottom, the left or the right. You can clearly see with David, with Jason, really adapting how they break and the speed of their break based on where the two ball is. If it's at the back, then it comes up. If it was on the sides, on the contrary wing ball, then it goes below the rack. Pay attention on how many times the two ball was on the contrary wing ball and it stays below the rack then, and that the cue ball of Europe stays below the rack. If you pay attention.
Lance Gascodi, I don't know how correct this is, but he says dry breaks was 5-4, so not really much of a difference anyway.
That seems unlikely, given how many racks there were. But I mean, I could be wrong on that. But
that one ball was flying in most of the time.
Yeah, one ball was flying in. Yeah.
But I also thought that there was a lot of soft breaking going on. I think they could have hit them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jason was breaking from center of the table.
Like, but he does that anyway now because that means he gets a better contact on the one, gets more force going through the pack.
It was working.
Mm-hmm.
He can break harder than he breaks more forcefully.
Now, if you look at Catch, he wasn't hitting them as forcefully as he normally does. Shane didn't break that many times.
David was close to soft breaking. Can we agree on that? But he's
Yes.
always doing that. Just to be fair, in other
Yeah.
tournaments. But
No, there was a
it's
few players. There was a few players that were on the
it's
edge.
close, huh?
Tyler wasn't hitting them as hard as he can hit them.
Tyler also wasn't hitting them as hard. No,
Right.
no.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. I mentioned it during some of the matches when I was sitting there. I was
Yeah.
saying, people saying, this must be borderline. The referees must be
Yeah, that's
close to
true.
saying, guys, you're not really hitting these, you know.
Yeah.
But yes,
yeah.
USA didn't get as much love after the break as USA did. But I think what Bob's saying is quite relevant. And certainly, I mean, I noticed a lot of times, and I was talking to people, they were not getting the cue ball back above the 9. They weren't getting into it enough to get it back above the 9. If you're not finding the center table with a cue ball, then you actually need to be lucky to be on the 2.
Mm.
You know, if you're going to be under the back, you're going to have a tough shot.
They
Yeah.
played enough.
And they weren't.
They played the break.
Yeah, Mike, we can't hear you.
Don't talk over him, Jim, because that like just go ahead, Mike.
He has lag. So you
Yeah,
can
he's got
hear
lag,
him, but you see him talking, and the
Yeah.
sound comes after.
Go ahead, Mike.
Just saying that he said they were above the 9 ball often enough to scratch into the side back at 3.
Yeah, that happens, but that's a risk.
Yeah.
That's
But
a risk.
that's because they were compensating. They were compensating for every time going, well, not every time, but being below the rack so often, they were putting way more draw into the cue ball to get above the rack, but then you're scratching. It's just because they compensated for being below the rack. Well, that's how I see it anyway.
Yeah. But the scratch is always on with that break. You can scratch off the 9. You can scratch straight in the sides if you get into it too much. You can also, if you don't get enough, you can scratch in one of the corners. The scratch is big.
Yeah.
In that
One
break.
thing, that match with the 3 scratches from Sky, wow, that I was puking in that moment. That match,
he's given Jason like 4 ball in hands or something like that, and one of them was a jump shot that was pretty easy to hit. You know, and yeah, he got unlucky.
He did hit it, but he went off. He went off from another ball.
He also completely whiffed one too.
He jumped.
Oh yeah,
the
missed
on
one.
the rail and completely whiffed it.
Yeah, okay. But the one jump where he went off from another ball.
Off the 6th ball. Yeah. Yep.
Jesus.
Oh yeah. He got some pretty brutal rolls in that match. And if you're going to do that against anybody in the Mosconi Cup, don't do it in a free flowing Jason Shaw of his game.
Do it in that match.
Picks up the cue ball, sticks it down, and 2 minutes later you're breaking again. Yeah.
I hope the USA get some outside help, because I don't want anything to change on the format. I think the format's great. I think the venue's great. Hope to be there. Gonna be there next year when it's in Europe. I hope to find me some US coveralls, Billy style. But going all out. I'm sitting next to you, Jim.
Now, do we know who's playing in the Reyes Cup? Is it going to be Europe again, or is
they were going to announce it, right? I think the winner of the Mosconi Cup. I think Billy.
Well, I heard there was more not while I was there in Mosconi, but after the Reyes Cup happened.
Well, I suspect that Mike actually knows because he's shaking his head. Let's just listen to Mike.
I heard it was going to be USA. They just wanted to give USA a go at it as well.
I heard they were rotating.
Well, yeah, I don't think they've made a decision yet. I think Emily's definitely, you know, like I said before, it's in Manila. So it's not like it's rotating yet between Europe, Asia, US, whatever. So, you know, for the first, it just makes sense to rotate the teams and get USA in there to play. You know, to me that makes sense, especially if it looks like, you know, up for the next 5 years as well. Then it's to me the Reyes Cup. I don't know, but I would, one way or the other, I would bet USA is playing Reyes Cup next year.
From a promotional point of view, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Just sport on a sportsmanship point of view, not being able to defend, or well, if Asia is able to defend, but if the other side wins, and then the next year not being able to defend, but from a promoter's point of view, they have to rotate.
Yeah, but you can also just turn around and say, if you win, you get to defend. If you don't, the other team goes in.
Sure.
There's lots of around that kind of thing.
That's also a fair point, actually. Yeah, and didn't think of that. That's
I would like to think eventually they're probably going to include at least some other team and make it more of like a tournament style. Or I'd like to see that.
Yeah, but they can
Europe.
also they don't need another team. They could just have 3 matches every year.
Sure, but or they can get one more team involved, and they could be U.S. and Europe versus Asia and the Middle East. Yeah, the Middle East could put a pretty good team together.
Yeah. Don't know if that'll ever happen.
Well, we didn't know if the Reyes Cup would ever happen either, right?
If the Reyes Cup takes off and the Mosconi Cup is what it is, and the Reyes Cup takes off, then maybe in a couple of years they can add something and create also a little competition there. But I think they're going to give the Reyes Cup now their full attention and not add another continent in the mix so close after Asia. I don't think.
Oh no, I'm not saying this is like next year, but I think I think you can make a pretty good argument that 10 years down the line, it wouldn't be far fetched to think that there's a 4-team.
Oh yeah, okay, like 10 years down the line.
Yeah. Could be. I mean, you'd have to admit. I mean, you could tighten it up and just do Team Asia, and you could tighten it up and do like the rest of the world, right? So Philippines, maybe you do Philippines as part of Oceania, and you throw mainland China, Taiwan, all those countries into Asia, and you throw the Middle East in. I mean, it's just thoughts, but
there's also doing a little too much, the Mosconi
has thing as too much Mosconi Cup.
Mean, there is though. I mean that the once a year thing though is so big. That's what makes it so big.
Of course.
No. You add a 17th game to the NFL. Makes it just as good. You add the 18th, makes it just as good.
That's way different.
Why? You cannot compare those.
Why?
Because it's the NFL.
Wait. So you're telling me that if the Mosconi Cup was twice a year, you'd only watch one of them because you only want one of them?
No,
I'm saying you can't dilute the product though. That's what I'm saying.
If they did what you would have if they did the Mosconi Cup twice a year, you'd have one of them in USA, one of them in Europe. The one in USA would be 100% USA fans. The one in Europe would be 100%.
I'm not talking about 2 Mosconi Cups. I'm talking about 2 Mosconi Cup like events.
Well, that's what we have now.
But you're never going to have nothing's ever going to be like Mosconi Cup.
Probably
doesn't matter who you put in it. It'll never be. If people are basing what's a success for the Reyes Cup, if they're basing that on Mosconi Cup, they're never going to reach that level, ever. Never going to happen. The Asians are too nice.
Correct. That was the.
You're never going to get that atmosphere. You're never going to get that natural rivalry and that atmosphere. If you are going to get it, it's going to take 30 years to build it. And it's So
throw it in Vietnam, see what happens.
Well, so the next time that the Mosconi is supposed to be in the U.S., let's have it in Asia. It might help us.
Everyone just sitting there like that.
Jason-san, thank you.
No, I don't think we needed to start doing accents, did we?
Meanwhile, Jim and I are over in the corner just being like assholes, and everyone around
on our 30th Bloody Mary.
I don't know. What's the fallout? We see lots of stupid comments on Facebook, but
none.
What do you think? Do you think there's anything lasting from this?
Nope. I think we just wait for the build up again, and then we start at zero again and go again, and let's see what happens next year. I'm not in agreement with anything that anyone suggests about changing. I think it's perfect the way it is. Why would you change stuff? I think I quite like the extra team match every day.
That was a great change. That was a great change.
I thought it made the MVP a lot more exciting. You saw that there were 2 guys that were tied for it. You saw the MVPs being tighter because there's not one player getting so many more matches. I thought the arena was great. I was a bit worried about not being in Vegas. It's going to be there for the next 4 editions in Orlando as well, for the next 4 American editions. So people get used to it. That's where it's going to be. I thought Jason and Sky both did a great job. Jason didn't even put the 2 Spaniards out together in any of the doubles, which surprised me. I spoke to him about it. He said it was a deliberate decision. I thought it was great. 11-6. That's what the result is. People think, is it fair? Is it not fair? It's 9-ball. It's race to 5. You don't always get what you deserve. Could USA have won a couple of extra matches? Yes, of course it could. Could they have lost a couple that they won? Also, yes,
they
we could
could.
have done.
Yeah.
So the score is what the score is. It was exciting for about a day. Day 3 broke it. I was looking. Sorry, 2 days. Day 3 broke it. I was looking for it to be closer. The atmosphere in there was fantastic. One of the best Mosconi Cups I've been to, and it was number 14 for me. And it's right up there with one of the best ones. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic.
You're welcome.
Won't change anything. Just get better. Just get better, America.
I made it so enjoyable for you, Jim. You're welcome.
Yeah, it wasn't all you.
One thing though, shouldn't they do something that they automatically play? How many matches are scheduled on day 2 normally?
5.
5. Shouldn't they do something like they automatically just play 4 matches on day 2 and have like an exhibition match or something? But
you pay for your day. You get 5 matches.
Okay, but but an exhibition match is also 5 matches. I'm just saying they're constantly every year pulling matches. So your argument doesn't stand, Jim, because
your argument
for 5 matches.
But your argument, how does your argument stand? Then you're assuming that one team's going to get obliterated.
I'm not assuming. I'm saying that you should then go out for 4 matches, and if it's close, you can put in an extra 5th, but not put in 5 to now for the 7th consecutive year, figure of speech, pull 1 match and have okay, again we got a match pulled. So why don't schedule 4 then and add 1 if it's close and it's need be, but then you manage expectations, because the constant pulling of matches I think is egregious. In my opinion, that's the only thing I would change. For the rest, totally on your side. Don't change a thing.
Well, at the end of the day, there was one match pulled.
Yeah, one match.
Yeah, okay, it's one match.
Wasn't last year 2 pulled?
Last year was more. Yeah. I think they stopped after 2 games.
It was 11-2
2 or
the
3.
final, or 11-3 last year is the final score, right?
Yeah. I mean,
it was 4. I think they pulled a match on day. No, there was 4-0 after day 1, and it was.
I think they pulled a match on day 1. I think they pulled 2 on day 2. I think or on day 3. I'm not sure. On day 3, I think
there was only 2 matches played on day 3 last year. I know that.
Then they they pulled 2 matches on day 3. Then.
If we would have got that point with Federer and Tyler, they would have played Jason and Sky the last match. So it was only because we lost that point.
Okay, but can you understand?
We're always going to stop on 9.
Okay, Jim, but can you understand? You're also into the tactical thing and so on and so on.
I can understand it, but you're nobody's going to stay for the exhibition match. So as a fan, you're not going to get anything extra.
Okay, but you can understand if you come up with a game plan as a captain. And you come up with a game plan, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm putting this guy there because the probability of that guy playing there, and then you pull a match that influences greatly how everything else moves forward. So why then not put it at 4, and then you can add an extra match, and then it's an audible for everyone, but in a positive way, because nobody can prepare for this.
Okay, that wouldn't have affected this year's, because they would have played all of day 2 anyway.
I'm not saying it affected. I'm saying, isn't it better than to go?
Well, maybe the plan was there. Maybe they have a backstage plan to say, as soon as Europe gets to 6, we're stopping this, regardless what the score is on day 2. You know, if Europe gets to 4, we're stopping at 4. If they get to 6 on day 2, we're stopping at 6. They have to make sure that they have a day 4. So if they're going under the assumption that if anyone's going to pull away, it's going to be Europe, they can easily say day 1 the maximum Europe's getting is 4. Day 2 the maximum they're getting to is 6. Day 3 the maximum they're getting to is 9.
Well, think about it. This is what we started talking about in the beginning. It's not an exhibition; it's a competition.
Exactly. It's a competition.
So there has to be some, oh my God, what if this happens? There has to be that. You can't plan for it prior to the event.
But I understand. I understand the contingency, but then play your first 3 days a match less, and then play a longer day 4.
No,
Then
you have to fit it. You have to. No,
you're
you
stuck
have to
with
fit
your
into
TV
TV
rights.
programming. You have
Right,
to
stuck
fit
with
into
your
the TV program.
The last
Ultimately,
thing,
this is
the worst thing, worse than cutting the day 4 short to 2 matches, worse than that would be going 10-10 and then having the TV channel shutting off because they've got a live Premier League football match getting shown in the UK. And they say, we're going to have to leave the Mosconi Cup now because we're going to go and watch Liverpool against Manchester United in the Premier League. And then you screw everybody who's been sitting watching it and they don't get to see the final match. They can't have that.
Yeah.
Sky Sport works on live broadcasting, live sporting events. There's very few sporting events they show that are recorded. It's all live. So they have to be very, very precise with their scheduling.
Yep. No other choice.
Sky Sports really can't afford to have a very, very long day 4.
Oh, yeah, it'd be rough.
The Matchroom can't afford to have a long day 4 that Sky might not honour the, you've got a 5-hour slot. That's it. You better get it finished.
Okay.
I do gotta jump in though. Like the people that are saying like the bring back the triangle rack, you can't do that because the triangle rack
complaints about bad racking.
It just takes more time to rack the balls, and ultimately you got to stay on that schedule. So the template is there not only because you're going to get a better rack, but it also speeds up play significantly. It might only be
100%.
It might only be 10 to 20 seconds on average per like rack, but that amount of time that adds up over the course of 17 matches and 100 and X amount of games. And then the call 9, if you've never been to a Mosconi Cup, that might make sense. If you've been to the Mosconi Cup, the only thing that, like, when you hear the crowd go so crazy when you see a 9 flying towards the pocket, that's completely fluked. Like when Jim, when you made your little 1-9 combo thing, when Jason kicks 2 rails underneath and makes the 1-9 combo, not in the side pocket, but off the puck. That place goes absolutely nuts for that.
He's stuck there, and it looks like the safety is a scratch. And he started looking at it, and I've just shouted through the crowd, 1-9 combo! And people started laughing. Jason sort of looked over, and he just rammed it, and it goes round 3 rails and flies into the middle.
The point is, you got to remember that when you're watching these events, you're not watching optimal pool, the best kind of pool that you can watch. You're watching the best show that can be created, and flukes create absolute chaos. And chaos.
That place just went. It was like tumbleweed going through.
If you want to watch the best level of pool that you possibly can, go off and watch 10 ball, because then you don't have to worry about any of it, right?
Yeah.
If you want the most exciting level of pool that you can watch, absolutely 9 ball is
and fast paced and
fast paced. Yep.
What's your guys' prediction on next year's Mosconi Cup? Is Josh going to be back?
No,
doubt it.
I don't think so. I'm saying no.
What do you think, Mike?
Have you heard anything about him potentially losing his WNT Pro card?
I haven't heard anything from them make a definitive statement on what's going to happen with people's pro cards next.
Okay, because if he loses his pro card, he's done right then and there. Because he's no longer.
He can still play in all the events, but he can't qualify for anything.
Exactly. Yep. He can't qualify for any sort of invite-only tournaments if he's not a WNT Pro.
Correct. And why would you give somebody a WNT Pro status if the only tournament they're going to play is the World Championships, and you risk that they might win the World Championships and qualify for everything based on one tournament? Are you going to do that? I wouldn't.
You got a point there. So then does that mean we're not going to see Josh in any of these events?
No, I think you'll see him in the events, but I don't think he'll. I think
you can only play in 2.
I think you'll see him in the events that don't carry a ban, but he won't qualify for anything anymore.
Well, you can only play in 2 open tournaments. So he could play theoretically in like the UK Open and the European Open, or the US Open and the Hanoi Open or something.
That's a matchroom thing. The WPA will still ban him if he does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. Well,
there's only one tournament you can play in that doesn't carry a ban, and that's the World Championships.
Well, unless the WNT or the WPA also says, all right, all of these events are okay again, like they did this year.
Oh yeah,
we don't know that will happen.
You know what? If they do that, he might keep his pro status in.
Yeah.
If they do that,
and then at that point in time, the only thing that he's really giving up, because if the WPA says these events are okay to play in, and it's the U.S. Open, not the Hanoi Open, but the U.S. Open, the European Open, the Spanish Open, those types of events, realistically speaking, he can play in 2 of the 3. So he'd really only be giving up by not having his WNT Pro card. He'd be giving up like the Spanish Open and maybe the
I think if he's allowed to play in all these events, then he will keep his WNT Pro status.
Mike, do you see anything going on as far as any resolution to this in the near future between the WPA and Matchroom, or anything to give hope to bring everybody together, or is it just going to continue to be this way?
Yeah, not the Matchroom. I don't think has any real interest in because there's been enough opportunities. So I don't see that happening. I don't see. WPA said, you can go ahead and play in European Open, UK Open, whatever, but you can't. Why would you even want them to do that? I don't even know if I'd let the players do that. It's like you're not going to cherry pick me to your advantage.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I have not heard much from the WPA lately, so nothing that gives me any thought that there's anything.
But yeah, I want to respond to, is it Dosito? Dosito has made a comment there saying Matchroom flexing their muscles. If there's muscle flexing going on, it's not from Matchroom's side. It's the WPA that are flexing their muscles and banning people.
They're both flexing. Jim, they're both flexing. Come on, be real. They're both going at it.
Matchroom are reacting. Matchroom are reacting.
Oh, so I'm hitting you, I hit you back, but no, you're not hitting, you're reacting. You're both flexing.
No, you're hitting me with the threat of continuing hitting me. All I'm doing is hitting you once and saying.
But you're hitting, Jim. You're not reacting. You're also hitting.
Look, Matchroom didn't ban Josh Filler from anything. They told him he wasn't getting to play Mosconi Cup.
I understand.
That's not banning somebody. WPA banned over 200 players for one event.
I agree.
And to be fair to that, Bob, is and just to go off of his point really quickly, Josh pulled himself out of the Reyes Cup by not communicating to any of his teammates for like a month and a half.
And by not committing to actually going to the thing.
Yeah.
Correct.
I 100% agree.
Didn't book any flights.
Josh is just as much to blame for not playing Mosconi Cup as WPA and Matchroom.
I 100% agree.
Josh Filler has to be accountable for his own actions, and he's screwed up big time within the period of about 2 months.
I understand, but he qualified for the Mosconi up until the Mosconi Cup. I 100% agree.
He qualified for an invitation, and the invitation.
He qualified for an invitational, but Matchroom still decided to pull him. I understand that they pulled him. I understand the premise behind that they pulled him, but you cannot discard that as not a flex. Sorry, then you're
is right there a little bit, but
then you're just being Matchroom glasses on. I love Matchroom. I'm a Matchroom supporter all the way. I think I've proven that in the past, but you cannot discard that as just Matchroom. Yeah, you had to do that, did you?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
That's also a flex.
They turned around to one player and said, "Sorry, you almost screwed us over." Screwed us over by not communicating to us that you weren't going to go play the Reyes Cup. We had to get another player in. It almost screwed the event. We had to last minute get another player in. I'm sorry, we can't take that risk.
Hola, it is me, David.
They can't take the risk that he's going to do it again with the Mosconi. They can't take the risk that somebody else is going to whisper in his ear and say, "You're not allowed to be playing this event." And then at the last minute he says, "Guys, I'm not playing the event." They can't take that risk.
I agree.
Well, there you go. So,
but the way it happened was a flex.
Is it, or is it? Are they protecting themselves?
No, that's they could have.
You don't know the conversation. You don't know the conversation that Matchroom had with Filler.
No, but I know the communication. I read the communication that they put out, and
but they're not going to go word for word exactly what was discussed between Filler and Matchroom.
Okay,
Filler turns around and says, "I can't commit,"
but it's still a flex. But it's still a flex.
It's not a flex. If you turn around and ask Nate to be your best man at your wedding, and a week before you come to him and say, "Nate, Are you still yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't booked my flights, blah, blah, blah. What are you going to do? Are you going to turn around and say, oh, well, I'll wait and see whether you turn up or not? Or are you just going to turn around and say, I'm sorry, I need a best man there. I'm going to pick somebody else.
I'm not saying that
Are
they
you,
should have done that.
are you flexing against Nate, or are you just saying, Nate, if you can't commit, then I'm going to have to go somewhere else?
If I don't want that to be properly communicated, then it isn't a flex. The way they handled it now, it was a flex. It was a precedent to all the other players, a warning signal, a shot across the bow, if you will, to all the other players to say, don't pull this shit, because we can also put the hammer down. And that's a flex. If they properly communicated, guys, we had to take our precautions because this and this happened, or even the this and this happened shouldn't be in it. Look, we had to take our precautions. We didn't want to have some, so we called David, then it's not a flex. You explained yourself. You need to defend your property, your event. Okay, fine. Now a 3-phrase communication, getting pulled. Same for Mosconi. That's a flex. That's a flex. How they handled it, it was a flex and a shot across the bow for all the other players. At least that's how I perceived it. If you perceive it otherwise, fine. Let's agree to disagree. But for me, at this moment in time, they're both flexing.
Pancake, you can decide who wins. Who won that argument?
Well, I mean, I think that they're both right. They're both right. Matchroom has to protect themselves, and
Pancake.
Switzerland.
If you can't make a decision.
We have to change the name. We have to change the name from Pancake to Lava.
yeah.
I'm just glad it's not me arguing with Jim this time.
I feel bad for the pool players. I feel bad for the fans because even though people might not like Josh, he is one of the best players in the world, and everybody wants to watch the best players in the world. So
do you think it would have been a better event if he'd been there?
If Josh was there?
Yes.
Not for the US.
100%.
Would it be a better event?
100%. Do you know why?
I 1,000,000% disagree with you, because we'd have been out of there at 11-3 and we'd have only had 2 matches on day 3 and 1 match on day 4. You think Filler playing in there?
Filler and Mickey.
David? You think that you got
Did
out
David
of there?
play bad? Did David play bad?
You think you got out
he
of
played
there?
that bad.
David lose.
Sorry?
David played pretty
David
well,
lose.
so I don't think the score changes.
It's not about how many. David lost. Of course he lost. He must have done.
He must have done.
Well, how many matches did he play? Filler's
Who did
playing a
he
lot
lose
more
to?
matches.
Who did he
Filler's playing
lose
a lot
to?
more matches if he's in
David
there.
won a
No, he's
singles and
right. He didn't. David Al-Qaeda didn't lose. He
No,
went 3-0.
I don't think it changes anything. I think it adds to the atmosphere.
One singles and 2 doubles. Filler's out there. He's going to be playing. He'll have played 2 singles and 3 doubles.
Not in the current.
He's
not
right.
in the
I mean,
current
he's right
format.
there.
Not in
Filler
the
plays
current.
more. Filler just goes out and plays more matches.
But Jim, you're assuming that he's going to go 5-0. David went 3-0. That's pretty
yes,
strong.
I am. He's that good. Yes, I am. He's that good.
It would have added to the
Mickey
event.
Grouse
It
doesn't
would
play
have
the
added
first
to the
singles on day
event
1 if Filler's in the team.
because the U.S.
You don't
crowd
know that
would have
part.
given Filler a hard time. FSR, nice guy. Al-Qaeda's a nice guy. Mickey's, you had a lot of nice guys on Europe. So they pinned it all on Jason. If you had Filler there, you would have more reaction when he was at the table than any of the other guys on Europe, besides Jason. So he would have added to the event. The score probably.
Thinking about it, if the top 3 had qualified with Filler instead of David, I'm pretty sure it would have been David that got the wild card and not Fran.
Probably.
It would have been Filler instead of Fran.
Well, then good thing Filler wasn't on the team because Fran played pretty good too.
Yeah.
Fran played lights out. Fran played.
I mean, he was. I talked to him the other day. I talked to him the other day, and I said, I can't believe how good you played. Like
Fran
he really
played great compared to the Reyes Cup. He played great, but for me personally, it took nothing away from the event having Josh not there. Just for me personally, for my enjoyment of the event and for what the event was, there was no point where I thought I wish Filler was out there.
Right, but from a fan point of view, imagine having one of the best players of your sport not in the biggest stage. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's a shame, but there's a lot of some of the best players that will never play the Mosconi Cup because they're not European or American. You know, so there's a lot of players that you would love to see out there. Now, if
Right.
Phil's not in it, there's other superstars of the sport, that are going to be doing their thing there, and I don't think that just because you're the best player in the sport that you need to be there.
That's a bold statement.
I
No, I
mean,
don't. No, because it almost kind of shows because you are the best, you should be there all the time.
But
Well,
what's
look
the
at-
point in
why
qualifying
is-
on
why
points
is
then? Why do you
SVB? Why is
qualify on points?
SVB in every Mosconi Cup?
Because
he's the best.
because he qualifies amongst a bunch of players that either don't play enough events or.
But
just
even
aren't
if he didn't qualify, he would get the wild card.
You were going to say
Well,
something else.
Actually, I don't think he would. I think if SVB stays out of the top 3 next year, I think there's a good chance he doesn't get picked. I think there's enough people. I think there's enough people now that are ready to give him a rest and say, let's see what we do without him.
That would
depends.
be
Right, Mike?
interesting. That would be interesting.
I cannot imagine.
How do you put somebody in there with such a bad record?
No chance.
If you're only talking about Mosconi, how do you put somebody in there all the time with such a bad record? He's played the most Mosconi Cups. He's played the most Mosconi Cups anyone's ever played. Fantastic achievement. How many has he played well?
But the thing is, to get into the Mosconi Cup on the US side, you
It's a
don't
piece of
just. Sorry?
It's a piece of piss. It's easy.
Okay, but you don't just say, okay, disregard everything you did in this year. You won a Grand Slam, you won the Gorse Slam. Let's all put that to the side. We're only going to look at your Mosconi Cup performances. That's not how it happens.
Bob, I've had this discussion with you already. It is if you're picking a wild card. It is if you're picking a wild card.
Yes.
Shane's never going to be outside the top 3, but let's say he does fall outside the top 3. He's not as much of a lock as what Mike thinks. I don't think to make the team as a wild card.
Not a chance. He's there on name alone. If he doesn't break an arm, he's in the team.
Then keep picking the same team and keep making the same excuses at the end of it, saying, "Well, if Shane had turned up, then we might have been okay." Shane checked out after day 2 or day 3. How many times are you going to keep saying that before you think maybe we'll just pick somebody else to see if that works? No. Why not pick somebody else? Why not put Sam Henderson in there? At least you'll get 4 days out of the kid.
Like I said, Oscar instead of Shane, and I think it's an entirely different event.
I'm not saying that Shane should be in there based on performance. I'm saying it's not going to happen. That's something.
Oh, I agree. Well, I mean, it will soon enough.
Sorry,
it will soon enough.
He's always going to be in the top 3. That's the problem.
Okay, but hypothetically, even if he's not in the top 3, it will not happen. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. I'm saying it will not happen.
Well, no, it'll take a coach or a captain with massive bollocks to leave him out of the team because they're going to get slammed up until the Mosconi for not picking him, and they're going to get slammed even harder if they get beat again. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing to say that not having him there makes you weaker. There's no proof of that whatsoever, that the team is weakened by Shane not being in it.
I'm inclined maybe to agree with you with the addition of Fedor and Sky being the last 5 years the predominant Mosconi Captain America kind of player.
Fedor?
No. Sky.
No, I thought you said Fedor and Sky.
No. So the addition of Fedor in the team and Sky being Captain America instead of Shane, the last couple of years, I may be inclined to agree with you, but you also have to agree that up until a couple of years ago, Shane had to be in there just because of the fact that those other guys were just
he had to be in there because
our best player isn't here, so we're definitely going to lose.
No, I think it would be more at the point that number 6 just wasn't good enough. Even Shane playing his B game is a better choice than number 6 on the list.
The problem is the 5 best players in the US haven't been there all at the same time. The Bergmans and all those guys. It's never been like the ideal season where everybody was like pretty much on a certain level. You had a Bergman who was playing fantastic. He drops out of the effing sky. Then you have some other guy playing well, nowhere to be seen anymore. it's always that same group of guys. That's the shame. So we need some young guys coming forward.
An improvement in the UST team will come along in not too many years, because there are some very talented young kids that are coming through. Yeah. But at some stage, somebody's going to have to turn around and say, "I'm sticking you in to find out what you've got." And they may take a battering 1 year by trying out these guys, you know. But at some stage, you're going to have a team with Shane Walford, Sam Henderson, Joey Tate. These guys are going to have to be in the team. They're going to, whether it's together or one. I mean, Shane got his feet wet but didn't get back in again. You know, you've got to get these guys in. You've got to get them in for a number of years, you know, because like you said, if you keep falling back on the same four, which it looks like for Federer, Sky, Tyler, and Shane, if these are going to be your four, you're going to struggle, you know. So there's got to be new guys coming through,
unless somebody gets them on the straight path, like what Johan did with the boot camp. They went to Russia, I want to say.
They went to Russia,
to play the Kremlin Cup and all of that stuff. Unless somebody really molds them to play that exact format, because there's one thing that I'm saying that you're absolutely right, Jim. That's the fact that Europe isn't a better player per se. That's what I'm saying, not you, I know. But they are way better in the format. The format is way better and way better suited for them. And that's half of the win right there. Because they know how to fire fast, like you said. They come out shooting.
Hey,
that's what they need.
You want to hear the funniest thing that was said to me at the Mosconi Cup this year? Somebody's like, "Isn't Jason's pool room in like Connecticut or something like that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "So why doesn't he play for us? He lives here."
I mean, I don't know how many times we have to hear that absolute nonsense. I mean,
we went from 5 Americans to now we're talking about Vitaly, Fedor, bringing Johan back as a coach. I've heard Jesus Intencio being brought up a bunch of times. Like, why don't we just let Sky pick like 4 Europeans that don't qualify on their side, and let's just run it with that. Throw a flag on their back and let's go.
Listen, it's natural and I get it, but the whole of Facebook, and now we're starting to do it as well, are trying to come up with ways to give America a chance to win the Mosconi Cup.
We just got to scream America louder.
Wow.
We'll be fine.
Somebody mute the guy, please.
It's not necessary. It's a temporary. Yes, it's been going on for a while, but they did the same. You did the same to us in the beginning. Get better, new players, breed new players in. It's as simple as that. The players have got to go down and do it on the table. They need fresh blood in there, you know. And they don't necessarily need new fresh blood all the time, but they need the group of players that are in contention to be in that team. That needs to be up at 8 to 10 players. That then forces players to perform better and to play better and to earn their spot. Whereas at the moment, there's too many players in the USA team that basically know now that they're going to be there next year. Well, and that's unhealthy. That's unhealthy because there's not enough competition in the team. Europe, there's one guy who probably thinks he's going to be next year. The rest of them are like, I better earn it. And they go out there and they earn it. You know?
Well, this could be interesting.
In the US team, you've got 3 guys that know they're in the team already.
This could be interesting for next year if the U.S. is picked to play in the Reyes Cup, because obviously Europe played this year. That was would you consider that almost like a practice or a warm-up? I mean, that to me is a good preparation.
It was good preparation for
what they were ready for. So if the U.S. has that opportunity this year going into the Mosconi Cup next year, I wonder if that changes anything on how they play the Mosconi.
It can't be negative unless they get a beating. What it was good for Europe was it was good that Mickey got out there and got into the team, and the players got to know Mickey. The rest of them knew each other well anyway. So it was
I thought Mickey played better at the Reyes Cup.
Perhaps.
He did.
Yeah.
Perhaps, yeah. But on the other hand, Kachi and FSR played better than they did in the Reyes Cup.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
And Jason played incredible in both. Jason played great both.
Everybody was basing the fact that everyone was basing the fact that USA have got a chance this year. Look at how Catchy and FSR played in the Reyes Cup. Not we've got a chance because look at how good we're playing. We've got a chance because look how bad those two guys played. Now, those two guys are not going to play that bad very, very often. Let's be honest, and they both have the experience of Mosconi Cup. They all get up from Mosconi Cup. You saw Jason, he said in his interview, it was difficult to get. You're going out there expecting it to be an atmosphere like Mosconi, and it just wasn't, and it was all a little bit flat. You put them in front of that crowd again, and they fire it up. And Catchy looked solid. FSR was great. Jason was great. Mickey had a rookie Mosconi Cup. He had a standard rookie Mosconi Cup.
Yeah.
Well, at least Europe didn't try to pick up Catchy at the end like Asia tried to do to
yeah. Four little guys trying to pick up the biggest Asian there is.
I don't know. Mario, he might have something to say about that.
Yeah.
Mario, he might have something to say about that.
He's Austrian, though.
Don't start saying he can play for Asia. It gets even worse for everybody.
Well, I don't know. That's a pretty good discussion. We good there?
Yeah.
We got there. It's been long enough.
Yeah, I think so. One of the
I just want to give one more shout out to the American fans. I thought they were. I mean, there was a couple of things shouted that probably shouldn't have been said.
Most of them by us.
We get that in the European side when it's in Europe as well, probably to a bigger extent than what we got there. But I thought the atmosphere in there was great. The fancy dress, people running around, and really welcoming to everybody. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it was fantastic. I got to meet Mike's wife, which was a highlight of my week there.
Yeah, and congratulations, Mike. We didn't even shout out to Mike.
Yeah,
to the Hall of Fame.
We're sitting here with a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, actually.
Congrats, Mike.
Where's your green jacket? I thought you would have worn it for this.
The green jacket. It's in the closet, back someplace.
Never to be seen again.
My wife said I to bed, so nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Well, what
Very
can you do?
nice.
Yeah,
All right. Well, we'll close it out by thanking our sponsors that allow us to continue doing this podcast. So thank you to Jacoby Custom Cues, first and foremost, the title sponsor of the show.
Good stuff.
Thank you to Jacoby Custom Cues. Absolutely. We'll also give a shout out to Billiards Digest, the Hall of Famer himself. Support that guy. Salado, Find Your Game, Horo Tips, and Littman Lights. We appreciate you guys, as always, for continuing to support the podcast. And with that, thank you, everybody, for joining us and participating in the chat. Pancake, Bob, Jim, Mike, thank you guys for joining.
Thanks, guys.
Leave a horse, ride a cowboy.
Take care, guys.